Well, the colored lights are back and more bisexual than ever. Hashtag ally. Today we're going to do a little bit of experimenting. I am a huge fan of kimchi. Wait, did I empty out this memory card before filming? I did not. Thank goodness I checked first. So I am a huge fan of kimchi, and I am not an expert. I'm not even a novice. I'm not even a beginner when it comes to making kimchi. I've done it a couple of times in my life. So I'm not here to teach you how to make kimchi. There are a lot of better people that you can learn it from. Eric Kim, the Korean vegan, are two of my favorite food content makers. If you want to make actual kimchi, I highly suggest you look them up and find out how to make it from them. But I wanted to play a little bit with the process of making kimchi, mixing up both my understanding on how that process is done with a Chinese fermentation process that is super, super similar, but we only use it to make a condiment, not an actual like thing that you eat. We use it to make duojiao, which you might have seen me make before. It's fermented chopped chilies. While we only use that to put on top of things, kimchi is something that you can like eat on its own if it's good enough, and oftentimes the ones that I've had have been. And I happen to have a lot of baby bok choy on hand. And I thought it might be fun to make something in between kimchi and duojiao using baby bok choy. Hopefully it turns out delicious. I'm not gonna label the steps of where one comes from the other. I'm not gonna go through this part of like the process saying, oh, this is a Korean part or this one part's a Chinese part. I think what's important here is that we're just having fun and playing and like not trying to reinvent anything. We're just messing around today. For this recipe, I'll be using both Shanghai bok choy and baby bok choy because I have both, and it would be kind of fun to see which one takes to this preservation better. If maybe both of them do just as well. They're just very different vegetables when it comes to shape, so it'd be interesting to see how they're different. Now, if I was gonna make duojiao, I would simply just have washed chopped chilies mixed in with 2% salt. And for kimchi, I would have the same percentage of salt, but then also in water and letting them soak for 3 hours to absorb that water and to kind of like season them from within. I'm going to go ahead and let them soak in salt water for 3 hours, and then in the meantime, make my kimchi paste. You can use whatever kind of salt you like. It really depends on the recipe. I just happen to have pickling salt, so I'm going to use it. So this is the salt I'm going to use. What is 2% of 6 pounds?
Here's what I found.
What is 6 pounds? What is 6.16 grams? Wait, no, hold on. What is 6.16 pounds into grams?
The answer is 2,794.13 grams.
What is 2% of that?
Here's what I found.
Oh, never mind. It doesn't do that. What is 6.16 pounds into grams?
2,794.13 grams.
2794. What is 2% of 2794.13?
It's 55.8826.
So 2% of that would be 55 grams of salt. Do I have a scale here? I do. Okay, cool. Lift tab. Oh, I see. Oh, all right. Wait. 55 grams. Is there batteries in this? 55. Damn it. Yeah, there we go. Nope, that was wrong. Not 2%. It should be around 3.2% salt. So instead of 55 grams, it should actually be like 84 grams. But this thing already zeroed out, so I'm gonna have to guess. So 84 minus 55, I think that's 29. 29. What's 84 minus 55?
The answer is
29. Okay, I was right. So let's just add another 29 grams of salt in this. 29 exactly. Take the salt and ooh, there we go. We already have 8 cups of water in here. I'm adding 4 more with all of the salt. gonna make sure we get all of that with one more. Oop. The salt water is going to make a lot of this bok choy wilt, and it should extract even more water from the vegetables in here. Hopefully it's enough to cover everything. If not, I'm just going to have to move it around. I'm normally used to working with dry salt as opposed to water, so I don't know if this is right. But it seems like it's working because the vegetables in here are already starting to wilt and go into like a really deep green, which is encouraging. Just put that up here for now. Out of my way. That's not good. That will definitely tip over. I put a lot of water in there. I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit more salt just in case, just to be sure. I'm just gonna go with my instincts here. All right, so now we're gonna make the paste. Chili flakes. There we go. Chili flake. Unfortunately, the only traditional Korean ingredient I don't have is those fermented shrimp. And I know how important those are, but I also kind of want to do some of the things that you do with duojiao. So they both have garlic and ginger, but Chinese pickles also use Szechuan peppercorns in some of our recipes. So let's try adding some of that. Szechuan peppercorns. Do a little bit of coriander too. Some cumin. I think these are some pretty good spices that we're gonna start with. We're gonna go with gochugaru. Wait, hold on. Yes, this is gochugaru. This is gochugaru, not Szechuan chili flake. Some coriander, some cumin, and some Szechuan peppercorns. And then to this, we're gonna add onions, garlic, ginger, vodka, an apple, and a little bit of glutinous rice flour. And whatever else I decide to add, because I don't know what I'm doing. Continuing to mix. Okay, so I guess the thing that would make sense the most would be to start with the spices and grind them up into the food processor, so when I add everything else, you won't get chunks of spice in here. So, coriander, cumin. Oh, that's good cumin. Szechuan peppercorn. I'm gonna do a little bit of black pepper, white pepper, and I will measure out the gochugaru. I will measure out the chili flake. Let's say like 100 grams of chili flake, but we're gonna add more because we like spicy. Let's do 130 grams of chili flake. We're also gonna add some Kashmiri chili for some more vibrant color. Kashmiri chili is not spicy at all. And then some Sirakhong Hatay chili. Yeah. All right, here we go. So, there's about 135 grams of 3 different kinds of chilies in here. It smells good already. So apart from gochugaru, I also use these. Kashmiri chili, and I cannot pronounce this. I can try. Sirakhong Hatay chili? I don't know, but it smells amazing and definitely worth a shot. Continuing to flip to this, I shall be adding nira flour, which is the flouring part of garlic chives, daikon, radish, scallions, an apple, onion, ginger, and garlic. Peeled garlic because I love myself. Wish I had Asian pear, but I do not. Don't really have an excuse for not having one either. They're at Costco now. Apple. Handful of garlic, also a handful of ginger, about this much ginger. Some scallions, cut into like 1 inch. Is that an inch? I don't know what an inch is. There we go. Oh, I don't think the, hold on. No. I did that wrong. So the scallions don't go into the paste, the scallions go in on their own. If anything, I might add them to the salt water really quick, just to make sure the fermentation goes pretty smoothly. And I think I'll do the same thing with the garlic chives as well. Why does apple and onion smell oddly nice together? Who am I talking to? Now for the garlic chive flour. Whew. I stir-fried these yesterday, made them for a friend. Did not cut into the stem enough, and I ended up making some really like woody textured stir-fried garlic chives. So when you make these, be sure to cut clearly into it so that like none of the bright green is left, because this part is quite woody. It might actually do okay with kimchi because it'll break down in there, but we're gonna be safe and try to make this as enjoyable as possible. Oh, and the Daikon radish, which I will also add in with, these are very small. I'll also add these in with the scallions and the garlic chives. Before we do that, let's get this paste going. Push some of these bigger chunks into the bottom. Now, when you make Chinese fermented chopped chilies, it normally calls for baijiu, or I think it's called baijiu. It is this really, really strong, pungent Chinese liqueur. And if you don't have it, people often say, like, you know, you can use vodka instead. I just use whatever because, you know, I've used various different types of alcohols. I've used rum, I've used scotch. The nuance and flavor does differ very slightly depending on the alcohol that you use. It is almost New Year's, so I feel like we should use something like a little bit fancy. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of cognac to this because I want to. That was probably a lot more than this needs, but we're gonna go with it. I bet it's gonna smell amazing. Oh, it does. It smells really, really good. Oh, and oniony. Okay. We'll let that sit. Daikon radish time. Oh, yeah, fish sauce. We can't be without fish sauce. Here we go. There. Some fish sauce to that. That was about 1 tablespoon. Yeah, that smells good. Okay, that's done. So in the time that it took me to make the paste and cut the Daikon radish as well as the Nira green, and I've been flipping this over periodically, we can see like everything has wilted. Oops, broke that. Everything has wilted really nicely and become a really nice shade of green, and the amount of water has doubled. So some recipes call for like telling you to wait 3 hours. That's nice on its own. That's like refreshing and sweet. I'd say maybe give this a like just 30 more minutes and they should be ready. And then after that 30 minutes, I'm gonna take the salt water and I'm gonna put it in here just so we can give the actual productive bacteria its best chance, because this stuff is also loaded with things that could harm our kimchi. And just giving it a little hit of salt water here will give us our best chance at succeeding in making this kimchi. Or whatever this is. I just realized I had made all of this and I didn't put anything in here to actually feed the beneficial bacteria to actually start the to actually like keep the fermentation going. So I'm gonna do 23 grams of sugar. Okay, 27 grams of sugar. Go. This has been very chaotic. So the whole process here probably took me about an hour. So this needs to sit for at least 2 more hours. I think it can sit up to overnight in salt water, but as the leaves have already long started wilting, I think 2 more hours would be perfect before we actually mix everything up together and then store it in the jar. At this point, the bok choy has wilted and become this very deep, beautiful shade of green. It's been about 3 hours. We're gonna rinse these things 3 times and then cover them in the paste along with the Daikon radish and the garlic chives and scallions, and then we'll put it all into a jar. And hopefully it'll work out. I'm just gonna go ahead and strain the salt water in with the radish and the scallions while I rinse the bok choy. Because why not? I mean, because why not? That'll sit there for no more than like 10 minutes. Okay, now we have these rinsed. We have removed any of that excess salt, and I guess everything's so tasty. It's almost like buttery, which is weird, but delicious. Get rid of this hot water in this. Okay, so I'll just mix it all together. And now, oh, that smells so good. We'll use some gloves because we don't need our hands to get stained. And there's some pretty hot chilies in there, so. So when it comes to duo jiao, it really was just a matter of chopped garlic and ginger and wine and salt. You don't remove the salt from when you make duo jiao. And then you just kind of mix it all together along with like the alcohol and just let that sit, and the salt will draw out all the liquid over time and it becomes a sauce or a paste that way. With this, we took out all of the excess salt. We allowed the salt water to like absorb into the vegetable, and then we took it all out. And now we're adding the paste to this. And I know it's really important to get the paste into the leaves of all the individual cabbage. We'll do our best with these, but you know, they're so much smaller that I don't want to like damage the bok choy by forcing too much paste into them. So we will try to get as much coverage as we can without damaging the individual things. But it does smell kind of like kimchi. The processes are so similar in some steps that, you know, it's hard to tell whether I was like following the Korean method or the Chinese method. Oh, it's messy. I should be wearing an apron. I'm gonna get an apron. I should also mention that while I was waiting for this kimchi, or while I was waiting for the bok choy to all brine, I added an extra onion and 4 shallots, simply because I was bored and have no self-control. I feel like bok choy is such an obvious choice. There must be like a version of this. Koreans must have a name for calling for doing like a kimchi with bok choy. It just seems like such an obvious thing. They're just tiny little cabbages. And I think they're related to cabbage. No, I think bok choy is related to broccoli. Man, these leaves are just soaking up this paste on their own. It's pretty great. That's what it looks like right now. It's pretty nice. It smells amazing. I think this will all fit in here. Since Huajiao has a little bit of alcohol in it, one thing I like to do after, like, even though I try to sanitize the jars to give everything its best chance, I'll give the interior walls a little spritz of vodka. Do I know for sure if it works? No. But have I had a problem with mold ever since I started adding that step every time I make something in this jar? No. So it's not hurting it. So I definitely underestimated how much this stuff would compact, so I guess I will transfer this over to a smaller jar. We are learning as we go. Boom. Air is the enemy of these things, I'm guessing. Barely enough just to try a little bit of it fresh. So I actually took some out of here and added some back into the bowl because I was really curious to see how this stuff tasted fresh. So I took like 3 or 4 pieces of bok choy out of here, and now I just cleaned this table and I made another mess. And it's pretty good. Let's try it. It smells really bright. I can smell a lot of the coriander.
It's a big piece and quite spicy. Very nice.
I'm super excited for this to get sour. It's a little bitter right now from the onion and the shallots and the scallions that are in there, but yeah. I think once this all starts to mellow out together, it will produce something, provided that it works. I'm just gonna leave this on the table to ferment. We will check back in a few days and I'll probably release a short featuring this, what it's like when it's done. If it works out, then great. If it doesn't, then no, I guess that's all right. We experimented. Even though I didn't really know what I was doing as I was making this, I can't believe there isn't a world where kimchi bok choy or preserved bok choy doesn't already exist in some Asian culture. So if you have a name for this, if this is already a thing, because I'm not gonna take credit for it, I was just fooling around, let me know in the comments. I would love to know, and I'd like to know how to do it properly. So give me a name, I'll look it up, and maybe next time I will try making it that way. Okay, so it has been 5 days since I initially made that batch of bok choy kimchi. And Really, really good signs. It is just constantly bubbling and it's a little fizzy. Everything is really bright and vibrant and there's no funky smell coming from it, just like the smell of like chilies and that sourness of fermentation that you get. So it's pretty encouraging. Let's just open this up. Yeah, so we got a little fizz at the top, so that's a good sign. That means the beneficial and the good bacteria has been doing its work. And now we're gonna give it a little taste test. Clean utensils only. Oh, you're fizzy, you're a fizzy boy. So this is some of the Shanghai Bok Choy. Oh, this big guy is, I'm guessing, yep, this is one of the white Bok Choy. Ooh, and a Daikon, because why not? So, let's try one of these big guys first. Just try like a piece of this guy. Fizzy, crunchy, effervescent, super alive, and really vibrant. A lot of that onion flavor has like been stripped away. There's still a little bit of that funkiness in there, but what I really appreciate is the fact that everything is still really crunchy. In traditional kimchi recipes, it calls for like this jar of really small, tiny shrimp, and I didn't find any of that, so I didn't have that. But I think like there's a certain something that I miss from traditional kimchi, and I think it's that. It's not a fishy taste. I've been told that those shrimp give kimchi a really fresh flavor. Let's try one of the garlic chives. Sweet and grassy. None of that garlickiness or that funkiness that you're normally used to. Daikon is bomb. So this stuff is totally 100% ready to be put in the fridge. So I'm gonna take it out of this jar, put it in a sealed container, and make sure it's sealed. Otherwise, it's gonna stink up your fridge. But yeah, I would say baby bok choy, a complete success. This can be a thing. Again, don't really know if it already is a thing. If it is, let me know in the comments. And I hope that you try this for yourself. This is really good. Try doing it. If you already make kimchi, try this with your original like kimchi paste or kimchi recipe and let me know what you think. I think it's really cool that you have these like just all-encompassing tiny little like cabbages, so to speak. And like the idea of giving everybody their own singular tiny one is it is cool to me. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like and subscribe, you know, all the good stuff. And I will see you guys later.